Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio stations, online platforms, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Welcome, welcome. It is time for Naturally Inspired Radio. Good morning. Do you have your coffee with you? If it's not coffee, maybe it's tea, but you're going to need a drink for this episode, let me tell you. You're going to need a drink. It's another beautiful day here in Northern Colorado, a little bit chilly, still a little bit chilly. But things are good. Things are good. The weeks are flying by. Don't you feel that? I mean, gosh, it's Thursday already. How did we get here? How did we get here this week? It's mind-blowing to me how fast the time is going. And everybody tells you that, you know, as you get older. Wait till you get older, time flies. Oh, yeah, apparently. Like time is truly flying. And this today's show is not going to make you feel like time isn't flying, okay? When we were kids, we grew up watching the Jetsons. We grew up watching, I didn't really watch Star Trek. I didn't watch that show, but you get what I'm getting at, right? All the technology, the futuristic like shows that we watched when we were growing up, they kind of missed the mark. I guess you could say. I mean, if in our minds we thought, oh yeah, maybe we'll have flying cars. We still don't have flying cars. But we never really predicted that we'd have data collection devices which AKA is now a car, and that, that information would be used against us for marketing and for mass surveillance, right? We didn't have that. We weren't even thinking about that. We were just thinking, it'd be cool to have Rosie as a robot in my house, and wouldn't it be cool to have flying cars? We did not anticipate all this extra weirdness around technology. So I'm probably not going to make you feel any better about it today, because I got some weird stuff to talk to you about. So have you heard this term? It's called cybernetic advancement. Maybe you've heard that term, right? What's cybernetic advancement? Or perhaps have you heard this term, cellular reprogramming? Cellular reprogramming. These are a couple of things that are going on in the private sector. I'd say that, in quotations, the private sector. And, a lot of billionaires are getting on board with this because, hey, man, if you're a billionaire and you got a lot of power, you got a lot of money, you got hot chicks around you, I guess you just don't want to die ever. I guess you just never want to die, right? Because, why would you, I guess? I don't know. It sounds like a nightmare to me. But anyway, they don't want to die. And so they're developing quickly. They are dumping, like Jeff Bezos is dumping a ton of money into this. These billionaires are dumping a ton of money into these companies that are developing cybernetic advancements, but also like trying to cure death. Okay. So here, cybernetic advancements are improvements. This is the definition for you if you haven't heard it before. Cybernetic advancements are improvements in systems where humans, machines, and feedback loops work together to sense, decide, and act more effectively. Cybernetics isn't about robots taking over. Yeah, right. It's about self-regulating systems that learn and adapt through feedback. So, the core idea at the heart of cybernetics is this loop. Sense, compare, adjust, repeat. The system measures what's happening, compares it to a outcome or a goal, makes a correction, and learns from the result. Your body already works this way, right? With temperature regulation, blood sugar hormones. Cybernetic advancements extend this principle using technology. Okay, here's Elon talking about his new blind sight. Take a listen.
Next product is blind sight, which will enable those who have total loss of vision, including if they've lost their eyes or the optic nerve, or maybe have never seen, or even blind from birth, to be able to see again. Initially low resolution, but ultimately very high resolution, and then in multiple wavelengths. So you could be like Geordi LaForge in Star Trek, and you can see in radar, you can see in infrared, ultraviolet, superhuman capabilities, cybernetic enhancement, essentially. And then along the way, this should help us understand a lot more about consciousness. What does it mean to be a conscious creature? We'll understand vastly more about the nature of consciousness as a result of this. And then ultimately, I think this helps mitigate the civilizational risk of artificial.
Okay, am I tripping? Or did that sound a little AI? Like, are these people doing presentations in AI form now and they're getting passed out? Like, I hate to be paranoid, but you know what I mean? Don't you just like sense? Every time I see one of these videos now, I get this sense that it might not be real. And I hate that I'm using things that I'm unsure. So could be real, could be AI. I don't know. But what he's talking about here is definitely real because I started researching it. And yes, indeed, this is something that he's very close to achieving. So here are some major categories of this cybernetic advancement. Okay. Human-machine integration. So technology that directly interfaces with the body or the nervous system. So brain-computer interfaces, I guess that'd be like the Neuralink, right? Where you think and then it you think a thought, it reads your thought, I guess, and then, you perform the action. Advanced prosthetics that respond to neural signals, right? So it's reading your brain, and then you have this robo arm or leg. Cochlear and retinal implants, exoskeletons for mobility and strength. So restoring or enhancing human function through feedback. This is one category of cybernetic advancements. Pretty cool, right? I mean, you got to think that's kind of cool because obviously, somebody loses a leg or whatever, spinal cord comes to paralysis comes to mind right away. Like, that's exciting. Still kind of freaky though, right? Like, if I'm not, I still freaky. It's freaky. Cool. But okay, let's go. Let's talk about something else. Biofeedback and self-regulation tech. So tools that help humans see internal signals so they can self-correct. Example, heart rate variability monitors, continuous glucose monitors, wearables tracking sleep, stress, recovery, neurofeedback for focus and emotional regulation. So this is applied to personal health mastery. So we have a lot of these products on the market now, but they are getting, they're talking about getting them like more immersed in your body, if you will. So not something like you just wear, but that it's implanted in the body. Number 3, this is another area that they're working on, is artificial intelligence with feedback learning. So AI systems that adapt based on outcomes. So machine learning models, adaptive algorithms, smart systems that improve through use. So you're teaching it, you're programming the AI. The key cybernetic feature is learning from results, not static programming. So, all the stuff that we're used to using, it comes with a program and, it's limited to what it can do. No, this is something that's constantly learning off of your actions. So you're actually programming it. You're programming its capability, and it's learning from those results. There's closed loop medical systems, medical technologies that automatically adjust treatment. So things like insulin pumps, most people understand, pacemakers, automated drug delivery systems. I think this isn't one that we're super familiar with yet. So something that just, pops into your, that is just, think about that. If you're wearing some kind of a device that just is like a delivery mechanism for your cocktail of medications, I don't know, can that be hacked, first of all? And, what if that's just making you more of a lifelong customer of big pharma. If you're wearing something that's, or something's embedded in you that just automatically, what are we, Pez dispensers here? You know what I mean? Oh, I don't know about that, man. I don't know, because tracking, tracing, you could be in violation for not taking your chems for the day. I don't know, crazy stuff. Organizational and social cybernetics. So this applies to people and culture. Systems thinking in leadership, feedback-driven organization, continuous improvement models, self-correcting economic and supply systems. This is cybernetics at the human system level. So it's not... cybernetics equals regulation, feedback, adaptation. Transhumanism is permanent enhancement even beyond human limits, which is what Elon is describing here, being able to see things like radar or see outside the normal spectrum of sight in a regular, non-enhanced human being. When I think of that, it's like they've been priming the pump for this for a long time, trying to make augmentation for aesthetic reasons the norm, which I just saw an ad yesterday that, these injectables that you put in your face and stuff for wrinkles and stuff, like they're so affordable now. It's like $10, $11 a unit or something. I mean, I don't know much about like from commercials and seeing, I've seen like people get like 35 units at a time or something. I don't think that's like totally crazy, but yeah, they're starting to get even more affordable, which makes them more normalized. And again, there is such very, very little discussion about side effects from augmentation, injectables, all that stuff for aesthetic. Very little talk about consequences. That always makes me skeptical. Stay tuned. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. Good morning. I am glad you're here. We'll be right back.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen.
Naturally Inspired Radio. You can follow us on BitChute. Yes, we're on BitChute. We are on BitChute. We've been on BitChute longer than we've been on YouTube because we got kicked off of YouTube, right? But we're on BitChute. We're on Rumble. We're on YouTube, of course. But if you follow on BitChute, please share. Share it with somebody over there on that platform. Comment, follow us. Make sure you hit the subscribe button because that helps us get this message out to more people. And this is a very valuable message. Real solutions for health, right? Real solutions for health. Get to root cause. Follow us on BitChute at Tammy Cuthbert Garcia. That's at Tammy Cuthbert Garcia on BitChute. All right, a few things about this cybernetic advancement that you might not know. A lot of this stuff's already in use today. So it's already in use or it's in clinical use, one or the other. So here are some of the products. Brain-computer interfaces, BCIs. You're going to start hearing about these. BCIs. Devices that let the brain communicate directly with computers or machines, bypassing muscles entirely. So OpenBCI, that's an open source EEG system that records brain activity for research and, hey, for your hobbies. Apparently, because you have a hobby of tracking your own brainwaves, I guess. I don't know. So EEG headsets like Intendix. Intendix is a brain interface headset used to assistive tech to control devices with thought. Crazy. Stentrode. This is a stent electrode implant via blood vessels into the brain, allowing people with paralysis to control computers by their thoughts. Brain gate systems. This is neural implants translating brain signals into computer or robotic arm control. Then we have a bunch of products in the advanced prosthetics category and the exoskeleton category. The next gen brain interfaces coming soon are high fidelity wearable brain computer interfaces that could be used continuously, like all day long during daily life. Brain implants targeting mental health and cognition and communication recovery. More seamless brain-machine thought networks enabling digital communication straight from brain signals. No words required. And then we have a whole category of cognitive augmentation, devices that enhance memory, that enhance cognitive speed or sensory perception via neural implants, biohybrid chips that integrate with brain tissue as co-processors. This is all stuff coming soon, everybody. Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. I mean, the impact on society with the integration of this stuff. I mean, we've not encountered anything, this drastic of a change, I think, this quickly. Everyone points to the Industrial Revolution, and I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. Everybody moved out from the country into the city, and we manufactured things, and people started working in plants instead of working on ranches and farms and stuff like that. But this seems like a little bit more upsetting. Just seems a little more upsetting than that. Not to downplay that, but this just seems like a whole new type of thing. So while that's going on, everybody, as if that wasn't enough, we have this other area of advancement called cellular reprogramming. Cellular reprogramming. Okay, so I found a few clips to bring forth to help us understand this. So take a listen. This is from Business Insider. Here it is.
Human cells to rejuvenate your body. It's a technique they're calling cellular reprogramming, and it could be reality in just a couple of years.
I'm unapologetically afraid of dying. If you cure aging and people have the mortality of young adults.
All right, that's a little introduction there to cellular reprogramming. So, throughout, this is a very long video, so I just took a few snippets from it so you could get the gist of what they're talking about here. They're essentially talking about stem cells that when we're born, we have these stem cells, they get programmed into skin cells and all these different cells. And basically in a laboratory, they're figuring out how to de-age your cells, I guess you could say, and then put them back into your body. Here's more. Listen.
Think about how it all starts, because we start out in a much different, more flexible shape. Picture a fertilized egg, the single cell where we all begin. That cell could become anything. It's what we call a stem cell. Stem cells are versatile and can turn into any type of cell your body needs. And then as they develop, the stem cells become more specialized. Scientists might say they're differentiated cells, but really it's kind of like they're getting job titles, like a skin cell, or a brain cell, or a hair cell. Our stem cells are like our body's built-in rejuvenation system. They're constantly turning over, making new stuff for us, keeping our body going with new hair, new skin, fresh neurons.
These stem cells are required for regenerating tissue because our tissues, our cells die and have to be constantly replaced. That's why, when you fall down and get a bruise, it quickly repairs itself.
As we age, the number of these stem cells decreases and their efficiency declines. So our body has a harder time repairing and replacing.
So we've officially reached the Benjamin Button point of technology, I suppose. That's what it feels like here. As they go on to explain, it gets pretty crazy. Let me tell you, I'm just pulling up some information here. So what's actually being programmed? Not DNA letters, but epigenetic markers such as DNA methylation, histone modifications, chromatic structure. And these markers act like, this is how it's best described, I guess. These markers act like sticky notes on genes, directing your genes to, read this, ignore that. Pay attention to this over here. Aging, toxins, stress, inflammation, and poor nutrition all distort these markers over time, and reprogramming aims to restore a youthful functional pattern. So here are some types of cellular reprogramming. Full reprogramming, this means adult cell to stem-like cell. Powerful, but it's risky because it's uncontrolled. Used mainly in labs and regenerative research. Partial reprogramming, this is the real hotbed area that they're working on right now. It rewinds cellular age without erasing identity. Cell stays a skin cell, neuron, etc. It just functions younger. Like I said, the Benjamin Button phenomenon here. Being explored, this is all being explored for aging reversal, tissue repair, and of course, disease recovery. And it's very focused on longevity. This is what, red flag is they're constantly referring to our bodies now in terms of technology. This is what I mean. Like, you're a human being, and they're constantly speaking about our body's process in tech language. Like, oh, you just need a software upgrade. And I don't think it's actually accidental. I think it's very purposeful. And I think it goes right alongside this agenda of merging man and technology. Like at the beginning of the show, when I played the Elon clip, his concern, his legitimate concern, is the only way we keep up with AI, with technology, is by turning ourselves into machines, merging with the machinery so that we don't get eaten alive, I guess, or destroyed. It's also strange because, like, why are people, like, are you trying to kill yourself? And it's just bizarre. And maybe I'm just weird, but like, it's so bizarre because, we have a lot of this stuff. Like, first of all, look at the scope of this technology, right? It's pretty amazing, right? But everyone is so focused on rectifying the problem, like, hey, let's build a exoskeleton, right? But why do we never ask, like, why the disease started in the first place? Injury, I understand, something's broke, you can't put it back together, okay? But when it comes to disease and, it's still always about some sort of solution that they are manufacturing, that they are concocting in a lab. And I just can't help but wonder if we had this type of effort focused on root cause, you think we would be able to figure out, yesterday's show, I focused on kind of like my philosophy around disease. I don't think disease exists. Yeah, I know that can be an offensive statement to some people, especially if you've had a diagnosis for a long time and that diagnosis is, something that you identify with. I understand it. I'm not saying you're not sick, okay? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we've created the circumstances in large part that express disease and that people express disease because of our environment. We are going against nature at every turn. In that video yesterday, he made a point, it's like we don't have animals in the wild that are having heart attacks, that have high blood pressure, that, you know what I mean? Like we're not finding, dead animals everywhere because of an epidemic of obesity. We're not living with nature. We are part of nature, and somehow we've separated ourselves from it and put ourselves in a class of our own, and it's just all very synthetic. And then we're wondering why we have such epidemics of disease. We're living outside of our environment in a weird plastic synthesized version of our environment. Bizarre. Stay tuned. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. We'll be right back.
Did you know 80% of beef consumed in the U.S. comes from 4 major corporations, much of it being imported or processed with additives? Want real beef from a real farm? Pumpkin Creek Ranch does things the right way. Local, grass-fed, dry-aged beef with no additives, no shortcuts, just honest quality.
Pumpkin Creek Ranch beef is the real deal. I love knowing exactly where my meat comes from. No additives, no nonsense, just honest quality beef.
Best beef I've ever had. You can taste the difference. Rich, tender, and packed with real flavor. Plus, supporting a local ranch makes it even better.
From pasture to plate, they raise their cattle with care, so you can get rich, natural flavor that only real ranching can provide. Stock your freezer with premium beef you can trust. Visit pumpkincreekranchco.com or call 970-658-0176.
Just like a couple more days to take advantage of the free shipping I'm offering all new members of the Naturally Inspired community. How do you become a member? You can get in just by making a purchase at naturallyinspiredstore.com. Of course, we do our Tuesday night weekly wellness workshops every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, and you get access to that just for becoming a customer. And right now, we're inviting you to join us with free shipping for new members only. And there's only a couple days left, just till the end of the month. So if you need to stock your wellness cabinet, you need things like minerals, antioxidants, collagen, whatever it is, we've got it at naturallyinspiredstore.com. Okay, so there's the other part of this, right, is not only are we like getting so far away from nature, not focusing on root cause, not even understanding why, a lot of this stuff occurs. We're fixing the problem artificially. And their motto here in this realm of work, this anti-aging longevity billionaire tech market, is aging is a software problem. Yeah, it's just a software problem, right? Again, mixing those languages, right? Like blurring the line between between machine and man. Virtual reality are blurred into one, machine and man being blurred into one, very purposefully here. And they're doing it through vocabulary. As we age, cells lose accurate gene expression. So the epigenetic noise increases and cells forget how to repair and regulate properly. Let's go to the next clip here. Same thing from Business Insider that describes more.
Stem cells. And that set of 4 genes are called the Yamanaka factors. They contain instructions that can reset a cell back to an undifferentiated state, making it like new again, essentially rewriting the cell's program and guiding it back to a more flexible, stem-like state. This was a big deal for aging science. These newly reset cells, known as induced pluripotent stem cells, can then turn into any type of cell you need and could potentially be used to grow new tissues or organs, like younger skin or a new heart. Typically, when researchers do cellular reprogramming in the lab, they use an inactivated virus.
An inactivated virus and cellular reprogramming here. What could go wrong? Again, what's really absent from this whole discussion is ethics, right? What does this even look like? We're not discussing how these advancements rather, are going to impact people on so many different levels. Like, What if you just choose to not do any of this, right? What if it's just not really your jam and you don't want to do anything? What happens to your value in society if you can't keep up with your, you opted to keep your real legs instead of your, bio legs, and now all the other humans walk, 10,000 times faster than you or something. We all become like Flash Gordon. Zing, 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 right? But you're still walking around with your normal human legs. Like, okay. Yeah, I just feel like we have had no discussion about any of this stuff. And so therefore it creates this wave that like you're going to have to get on or you're going to be left behind. And so what infrastructure, culturally are we building in to society to protect the natural human? Because, I mean, let's face it, like, we live in a free country. If they're going to make these things available and innovation is available to people, then, people are going to buy it. And this is going to make its way to the marketplace. And the more people that do it, there'll have to be a whole, a demographic of risk takers that want to be the first ones to try it. And I'm sure there'll be a lot that goes wrong in the beginning. And then eventually all the bugs will work out. It's like a new car to the marketplace. Wait and get the 5-year-old model when they've worked out all the bugs. Remember when we used to say that? That's what I think a lot of people are going to feel like as these things make their way into the marketplace. But no doubt we will have the people, because people are already signing up for it. And a lot of these tech billionaires, they're already doing this stuff to themselves. They're already doing cellular regeneration. They're already doing it. We have no idea. What does this mean for reproduction? Like if you're getting all your, I don't know, you're telling me that, some of these old guys that are reprogramming their cells, that they're not, they're refraining from reproducing. I mean, the ego's on these guys, right? So like, what does that look like? And what are the ethics around that? Like, oh my gosh, it's hard to quantify all of the things that are going to be impacted by this and what that will even look like. They're going to they are packaging it on the outside as wondrous medical advancements. Oh, this is going to be fantastic. This is, the blind will be able to see, and the paralyzed will be able to walk. And that is a small segment and a valuable one, but that's a small impact. And there's all these other consequences to this stuff too. And we're not having any sort of discussion about that. I'm talking like being able to, in parts of this longer video I watched on this, they were talking about being able to pre-program babies. Pre-program babies so that their cellular expression is manipulated to say, they use the example of Alzheimer's, they're going to pre-program the baby to not get Alzheimer's. Well, I call BS. I call BS on that, because Alzheimer's is not a genetic disease. It's not in your genes. Yes, we have genome that we have SNPs in our genome that make us more susceptible to not being able to, keep our detox pathways flowing. It can cause congestion in the body, right? Like we have all these different SNPs in our genome that make us more vulnerable, but it does not determine the outcome. There's not one gene that says, oh, you've got the Alzheimer's gene. You're definitely getting Alzheimer's. No. I mean, they've been trying to sell that load of BS for a long time with the breast cancer gene, right? The BRCA gene. Oh, well, I've got the BRCA gene. Listen, Listen, please. 50% of women that have that gene get breast cancer, and 50% of women that have that gene don't. Is that a gene issue? And yet we are performing double mastectomies on women because they have this gene. Make it make sense. I guarantee you they are not explaining that to women. They are not explaining. I'm telling you, a variable of how this medical system works is fear. They have got to keep you in fear so that you don't ask questions. You just do what you're told because you're so dang afraid that you just do it. It's evil. There's really no other word for it. To tell people, to tell women that you've got a breast cancer gene, and so you've got to do this before you get breast cancer because you're definitely going to get breast cancer. It's like, once you've told somebody that, in my belief system, the worry, the fret, the fear, the acceptance of your destiny, how much of that creates breast cancer? If you think every day, I have the gene, I'm probably going to get it, I'm probably going to get it, your mind leads you where your thoughts are. Whatever you're thinking about, that's leading you to the result. Of course, we don't study that because that's not legitimate science, right? That's not even talked about in the medical model. We've really just got it so backwards on so much stuff. And here we are now solving death because we know how, and nobody wants to die, right? Because why die when you can live forever, when you can manipulate your genetics, manipulate your cells? Why would you want to die, right? I think we need a conversation about this, really. I mean, that's really, that's on purpose. These conversations are not taking place because the greed, the power, the ego on these people. I tell you, when you listen to they have plenty of podcasts, they have plenty of lectures, they have plenty of classes now that you can watch for free on YouTube on these topics. And they go on and on and on for hours and hours and hours about how great this is, the innovation they're doing, what they're doing. And they never mention anything about the negative impacts of this on society, on humans, on the natural human. It's all go, baby. Let's go, right? Because it's money, it's power, it's their legacy. They are so compartmentalized on it. Sam Altman is in on this. Jeff Bezos is in on this. There's another scientist that I've featured here, David Sinclair. He's turning back age in mice with cellular reprogramming. This is definitely coming, and they've prepped everybody because it isn't even going to be normal anymore to become a natural 70-year-old. What? Why do you have wrinkles? Go get those taken care of. Ugh, how dare we look at you and your wrinkled face. Stay tuned. We'll be back with your naturally inspired moment.
Did you know that nearly 70% of Americans struggle with their health every single day? That's why we are reaching out to health professionals and to anyone who simply has a heart for helping people. Right now, there's an opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives while building a flexible income stream for yourself. Whether you're already working in health, wellness, or just passionate about seeing people thrive, we want to connect with you and introduce you to our system. Together, we can provide real solutions that empower people to take control of their health and create lasting impact. If you've been looking for a way to combine purpose with income, this is it. Visit simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448 That's simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. We look forward to working with you.
You can work with me. Do you need help, support, accountability, guidance on your optimum health journey? Well, you can get it in the Naturally Inspired community. Work with me for better health. Go to naturallyinspiredstore.com. You just scroll down the page a little bit. You can book your free assessment with me right there, and it will send you reminders. And make sure that you're getting the reminders when you book, because we have had a couple people that thought they booked and then it didn't actually go through or something. And so when you'll know you are booked on my calendar when you get a email confirming that you are and a text confirming that you have scheduled with me. So just a side note there. I don't want anybody to miss their appointments, but you can work with me and you can book it at naturallyinspiredstore.com. Oh, such a crazy topic today. AI advancements, cybernetic advancements, cellular reprogramming. It boggles my mind that we have not spent this kind of attention on trying to figure out why we get sick. Why? Why do we get sick? That'd be great to know that. Instead, it's always about the remedy. It's always about the product, the thing they can patent and sell. And I just think we're missing out on a lot, Like, think about this. You know how I always talk about higher faculties and developing things? You've got to go inward to do that, right? You've really got to pay attention to your neural pathways, why you think the way you think, patterns of thinking that end up in certain results. If you have a pattern in your life where you think a certain thing, and then you act a certain way because you thought a certain thing, and then you end up with the same results over and over again. Do you ever know anybody like that, that just kind of keeps getting the same result over and over again? And it's hard for them to see what they're doing that's creating that result. But as an outsider, it's easy, right? You can kind of identify it, but it's much harder to do it on yourself because those are your neural pathways. And so you are invested in them time and time again. So that's the kind of research and science I would like to dive more into and bring understanding to, because we know that, our emotions are a big impact on our health, the way we think. Listen, just holding the belief that you need allopathic medicine to, heal. A lot of people hold that belief, oh, I'm sick, I go to the doctor heals me, the pharmaceuticals heal me. Just that, holding that belief system, well, that kind of boxes you in, right? If that's your belief system, then that's how you operate in health. When you're sick, first of all, you wait till you're sick, then you go to the doctor and you say, okay, heal me. And they prescribe you some pills and you take the pills. And in your mind, that's how you treat your body. So that's a very limiting belief. Now, a lot of people have woken up out of that boxed in belief. And they've started to realize, wait a minute, there's some other things going on here. Why was my body, I was born healthy. I didn't have any problems. And I lived, 20 years, 25, and all of a sudden I start having problems. How come it took that long? What happened in that time period? And it starts making sense to them. Oh, maybe what I've been doing to my body, or where I've been living, or what I've been exposed to, or what have you. Maybe there's some environmental factors here. And maybe if I could walk back some of those environmental factors, I can get back to baseline when I was healthy. I think that's a concept that people are really starting to pursue now, because Big Pharma is a little bit scary now. They got way too bold, way too greedy. And now there's a whole lot of people that have woken up to it. So that's good. But listen, as I was looking for something to talk today about for the Naturally Inspired Moment, I went back to one of my old favorite teachers, Bob Proctor. And he has this quote: "You will never rise higher than your concept of yourself. You do not attract what you want. You attract who you are." And so essentially, your self-concept is your thermostat, not the goal. Your self-concept is the identity you subconsciously defend. So if you see yourself as someone who struggles, you'll unconsciously create struggle, even while chasing success. If you see yourself as someone who always figures it out, opportunities seem to find you. Goals are like turning up the heat for a moment. Identity is the thermostat setting that decides what temperature is allowed to stay. So why don't you attract what you want? Wanting anything is rooted in lack. It's rooted in, I don't have it. I want it, right? I want more money often comes from, I don't have enough. I don't have enough. I want better health often comes from, I'm broken. I need to be fixed. So the subconscious mind doesn't respond to words. It responds to the state of your being. So if you're walking around thinking I'm broken, or walking around thinking I want more money all the time, life begins to mirror that. It mirrors your expectations, your emotional baseline, and your identity level beliefs. That's why two people can want the same thing and get wildly different outcomes. You attract who you are because the world reflects coherence. We've talked about that before in frequency, right? You can be in coherence with your frequency, in calm, in harmony. Coherence is like emotions like love, peace, faith. This brings coherence in your frequency, where chaos, fighting, anger, fear, that creates incoherence. And your reality responds to alignment. So when your thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and identity all match, that's coherence. So you start to notice different opportunities. You tolerate higher standards, right? You repel what no longer fits you. This isn't like woo-woo or mystical magic of any sort, okay? It's neurological and behavioral. Reticular activating system, what you notice, habitual decision-making, emotional regulation, the nervous system, right? If your nervous system is in fight or flight and you're always a little anxious, that's not coherence. Boundary enforcement. Change feels hard. Okay. So once you're aware of this, like, oh, I'm not really in coherence here. I've got a lot of incoherent thoughts and things that are driving my outcomes here. It feels hard to change it because you have those neural pathways that are already built. But the good news is the first step is just awareness. And then you can start playing with it. You're like, I'm going to walk into this grocery store. Like, I am just feeling calm and happy. And let's just see what happens, compared to walking into a grocery store kind of pissed off because you have to be there, and their line's long, and you know what I mean? And then you're creating incoherence. And so your experience through that grocery store is totally different than the one where you were holding coherence. So this is what happens. If success violates your self-concept, the brain treats it as a threat. So people get close to breakthroughs, then they quit. Have you ever known anybody like that? It's like they're making improvements, they're doing really well, and then they just quit. That's because there's incoherence. They're not really coherent with all of the good feelings to embrace the success. Or they improve their health for a little while and then they fall off, or they have some financial success or business success, and then all of a sudden they start creating chaos in their life and it all falls apart. It's not because they don't want it, right? Remember, want comes from lack, but because it contradicts who they believe they are allowed to be. Let me read that again. It contradicts who you believe you are allowed to be. So the real work here, you don't chase outcomes. You upgrade your identity. And that starts with awareness. If you have a belief system that you're not worthy, you're not smart enough, you don't fit in here, you're carrying all that energy around with you. And it's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie you're telling yourself, so you don't have to go through the growth process. The growth process is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. But I'll tell you, not growing, you may be okay with not growing right now, but eventually not growing is going to cost you bigger than any uncomfortable feeling you might feel going through the growth period. So you got to ask yourself, how do I upgrade my identity? Who does this come naturally to? Find somebody, right? Who's good at what this coherence? What would somebody like that believe daily? And how would they respond under pressure? Then practice being that person before your results show up. Step into that identity. It's not like playing a character. It's sharpening the skill set that lies beneath. You got all this crap piled on top of who you really are. Like imagine you got a whole bunch of laundry on top of your bed, right? You're still a bed. You're a great bed. You're a wonderful bed, a soft bed. It works. It's great for sleeping in. It's got everything it needs. But you got all this crap piled on top of the bed. And it makes you believe that the bed's not there. But it is there. It's a matter of taking all that crap off the bed and seeing the bed for what it is and going, yeah, I'm a bed. I'm a bed and I can function. I can do this. So upgrade your self-concept. Align emotions before actions. Raise your standards. You don't have to do more work. It's not about working harder necessarily. It's about raising your standards, right? Most people try to attract more by doing more, but attraction responds faster to what you tolerate. When you stop tolerating chaos, distraction, and inconsistency, all of a sudden your environment has no choice but to reorganize into peace and supportive. Speak in identity, not your desire. I'm trying, I hope, I want. Nope. Those are signals of lack. Shift to, this is who I am. This is how I operate. This is my standard. Because your words train your subconscious, and the subconscious, that baby runs the show. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. Stay tuned for Hour 2. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to stay informed and inspired 24/7? Tune in to Naturally Inspired Radio anytime, anywhere. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com, or for the best mobile experience, download the Simple Radio app. Search for Naturally Inspired Radio. Save it to your favorites, and click on the graphic to listen instantly. Catch live broadcasts, revisit past shows, dive into long-form podcast conversations, and discover rare, censored presentations by leading health experts. Plus, explore documentaries uncovering the hidden truths of occult and esoteric history. Stay connected, stay inspired. Naturally Inspired Radio is always at your fingertips. Tune in now. For health questions or comments, text Tammy directly at 720-303-8868. naturallyinspiredradio.com.
Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio stations, online platforms, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Welcome back. This is hour 2 of Naturally Inspired Radio. If you missed the first hour, you got to go back and check it out. We were talking about cybernetic advancements, cellular reprogramming. Y'all, this is transhumanism. This is transhumanism. I've been talking about it for years now with the gene therapy. As soon as the gene therapy, I'm sorry, that's a vaccine, right? As soon as that hit the market, I went, clear down the rabbit hole, starting to do a lot of research on that mRNA stuff and designer babies and, all kinds of things. And then I knew, they're going to call this a vaccine because that's the way the public will accept it. Was never a vaccine. Now, Robert Redfield, of course, former CDC director, admits, we probably shouldn't have called it that. Well, no kidding. No kidding, right? It was a gene therapy. It was an experiment. And I knew that was opening Pandora's box and that this was truly about transhumanism and about synthesizing the natural human, augmenting the natural human, merging humans with machines. We could stop this at any time, really, We can stop this at any time, but greed, money, power, surveillance, the ideology around living forever, that's what perpetuates this. And you and I, we don't really have any say in it at all. It's the billionaires, the power, the cult. That's who's controlling this agenda. And we're just kind of here along for the ride, whether we like it or not. And it feels like, we're powerless. But we're not really. We may not be able to make the choices, at the top, but we can certainly figure out our belief system and our values and make sure we know where our boundaries are when it comes to this. We should be thinking about that now and making sure that we align with our belief system and whatnot, because these things are going to pop into the marketplace. And if we don't know much about them, we may be sucked into them. And I don't think most people are going to understand what they're signing up for, truthfully. So pray about it, really start to understand what this stuff is, how it's going to impact you, and how far you're going to let it in. I think we all have to deal with that, grapple with it. Anyway, I've got some great stories for you today, some exciting stuff, really, and I want to make sure I get to it because at 8:30, Dean Lerwick from Pumpkin Creek Ranch is coming on. We're going to be talking about processing plants, ranching, what it's like on his ranch, and it's going to be a great conversation. You're not going to want to miss it. So that's at 8:30. So I've got a lot to get through before he comes on and joins us. So top story today I wanted to tell you about is this hospice fraud. Did you see this? When I told Jason this, he was just like, because it becomes so incredibly, you just feel like, are you, like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, this is just such blatant crime. And it just, here it is. It's Dr. Oz explaining what's going on. Here it is.
So you can see these are medical buildings. They've got Cyrillic writing, Russian, Armenian writing. On both sides, there's lots of action, it seems. I don't know how many patients are getting care, but in this 4-block area in Los Angeles, there are 42 hospices. So either there are a lot of people dying here, or you've got a fraudulent activity that is so good that everyone wants to get in on it. I'm in Van Nuys in Los Angeles, and this boarded up area above my head here is a big hospice center. There are apparently quite a few hospices around here, 42 within a 4-block radius. And these guys stole $16 million. Listen carefully. The main guy went to jail for 2 years, for stealing $16 million, which is a good trade-off for a lot of folks. And if you look at it, it's pretty in the script. There wasn't anyone really in there. They weren't doing any services. They just got an address they could claim was a hospice. And then they ran the business, claiming people were at home getting services, which they really weren't. What we have learned is there's roughly $3.5 billion of fraud taking place here in Los Angeles in hospice and home care. It's run quite a bit of it by the Russian Armenian mafia. You notice the lettering and language behind me is of that dialect. And it also highlights the fact that this is an organized crime, mafia deal where you've got folks who have systematically recruited doctors to write false prescriptions, hundreds of doctors participating. They've got 100,000 patients who they've tricked or paid to give them their beneficiary numbers so they can perpetuate the fraud. And then the criminals are just running the whole organization and quickly scurrying away when law enforcement does get around to prosecuting them. Unfortunately, in California, there has not been a lot of attention on these problems. That's going to change. The U.S. Attorney, the FBI, everyone's now focused on the fact that in this state, which has about $30 billion worth of home and community-based services, most of it might be fraudulent. Those are big numbers, and we're taking
it. Why are we going to work today? It's just like, oh my gosh, like it just feels like, it's just one big money laundering operation. Just, the way I look at it. The way I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh my gosh. So basically what they're doing is some entity, who could that be, is, allowing immigrants in, illegal or legal, come on in. And then they're sending a little representative out to to introduce these immigrants to the business plan. Hey, and like Ilhan Omar, right? She was the representative for the Somali community, right? To facilitate that fraud, no doubt, allegedly. So they send out one of their own to communicate, hey, let's set up these businesses. They walk them through setting up the businesses, right? And then, this is how you apply for money for it. And then they funnel the money through the business to the, political party donor PAC or what have you. And, 30% or whatever goes to the political PAC, and then the money stays within the immigrant family. What a deal that is, right? Guaranteed funds. Seeing some of the stuff on Omar, she had her winery would made like $15,000 one year, and then the very next year it made like $5 million. That's a big bump. I don't know about you. I've ran a lot of businesses and been part of businesses. Jason and I have for a long time, and we've never seen that kind of growth. 15 grand to, just something's up there, and the thing is, nobody wanted to find it. And it seems so simple, right? You would be like, well, why isn't somebody monitoring this, right? Why wouldn't somebody from the state come out and check these addresses and make sure everything's legit? Ladies and gentlemen, they didn't want to find it. It was the way they were getting paid. Like, they don't want to shut it down. They're the ones doing it. They're making it happen at the state level. They're making it happen. This is how they're funding themselves. Like, you want to get rich, get into politics. That's not the intention of it. That was never the intention of it. But that's what we have now. If you want to get really rich, well, you got to get into politics. You can become a millionaire in a year of politics. Even though your salary is only, $240,000 a year, you can become multimillionaire and then some in 1 year of politicking in America. It just, I don't think we should ever pay income tax again. I know if, Trump's been floating that around, and I don't know if it will happen, but I pray that it does, because this is just too much. How long? Some of these operations have been going on decades now. This is not new. So, and what do they care? They need more money. They just print it. So anyway, we got a whole new fraud thing going on in California. I suspect this stuff goes on in every state. I think it goes on in every state. The amount of money that is, fraudulent, that's being siphoned out of taxpayers and out of our country. I can't even imagine. 3.5 billion in this hospice fraud ring. How many billion was it I don't even think they know yet in the Somali fraud ring. Like, this going on everywhere. This is why at some point you just got to be like, anyway, next up, I wanted to tell you about this story, because this is happened to me before, and maybe it's happened to you. Do you feel weird? Do you feel weird when you go into like big box stores, specifically places maybe like, Walmart or Costco or Sam's or, Home Depot, some of these big box stores? Well, a lot of them are filled with LED lights. Have a look at this little film clip. This is a LED lights in an apartment on slow motion. Okay, that part's very important that you understand. These are LED lights, but this is being filmed in slow motion. Okay, check this out. Warning. It's a flickering light here. So if you're sensitive to that, turn away. But this is what your LED lights look like in your house. In your house, this is what they look like. So that's the input coming into your brain. If you have those in your house, we don't have lights like that on in our house all the time, but we have noticed, and it even impacts my daughter. When she was home for Christmas, she mentioned it, that every time she goes into some of these stores, she feels weird. Her eyes will water and she feels weird. I experience kind of like a heightened anxiety feeling when I'm in stores like that. And same with Jason. Do you? Because this might be what it is. This is a lot of input, rapid flashing light. That's a lot. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturalinspiredраdio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturalinspiredradio.com/collagen.
Do you know that it is no problem for me to help you place an order? You can, if you need help, maybe you don't know what supplements you need. You know, maybe you've bought supplements in the past. Maybe you're buying them from big box stores. You're not really sure what they're doing for you, and you'd like to upgrade your supplements, but you're not really sure where to start. I help with all of that. Yeah, I actually really enjoy sitting down with you and getting to know you a little bit and your supplement needs. So I offer concierge service. I offer that to you. So all you have to do is go to Naturally Inspired store, and you can book an appointment with me. You scroll down the page a little bit. It says book your free assessment. You can book time with me where we can sit and chat about a few things. If you just want to, you don't want to deal with the website, if you don't know where to start, that's what I do. I'm happy to help in any way. So you can always text me 720-303-8868 or book an appointment for concierge service at naturallyinspiredstore.com. One more thing to freak you out a little bit more. This is coming to a hospital near you pretty quickly. This is a microsurgeon, and it's a robot surgery. But look at how precise it is. Check this out. Man, when I think of that, when I first saw that, I thought, what's coming soon too, I think. And, sorry to all the tattoo artists out there, but I can just see it. There's going to have kiosks for tattoos. You're going to put in your design, and it'll download the design or what have you. And then you're just going to stick your body part in the kiosk as you sit there, and it's just going to zip, 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 zip. And you'll be all tatted up. I think that's coming really soon. If this is already available, then certainly that is probably coming very soon. So what do you think about this? It seems like super precise. It's a little scary to me. It looks like Terminator. But I told you guys a long time ago, I think that, surgeons and it's going to be very specialized medicine in the future. Don't know that we'll even have like general physicians anymore or a need for them. I think most surgeries will be performed through this type of technology. And it's going to look a totally different landscape of medicine. That's for sure. So, very interesting stuff. But I do want to get to your health topic because, as I said earlier, Dean Lerwick is going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. Of course, he is the owner and operator of Pumpkin Creek Ranch, the best beef. Man, it is tasty. It is regeneratively harvested, right? They grow the food that they feed their cattle right there on the ranch. For the most part, when they have to supplement because of bad crops or whatever, they do that. But for the most part, they are practicing regenerative farm and very dedicated to best practices when it comes to ranching. So he's joining us in just a few minutes. So I want to get to our health topic. Today, I am talking about cognitive function. This is a big topic for a lot of people. So maybe you're experiencing brain fog. Right? Or maybe you got that whole memory thing going on where you walk in a room and you can't remember why you went in there. That type of thing, right? So today I want to talk about 7 ways to improve cognitive function. Number 1, maybe you can guess this one. Improve insulin sensitivity. Big, I know, you don't think about the brain being impacted by insulin sensitivity or blood sugar. Oh, but it is. It is. And experts are now calling things like dementia and memory impairment and whatnot type 3 diabetes. That's what they're calling it. Because your brain is so sensitive to insulin. The brain is highly sensitive to blood sugar swings. Insulin resistance is now strongly linked to cognitive decline. So if you've got a loved one, an elderly person in your life that is dealing with this, man, I would strongly recommend doing your own research on something like a keto diet. Very, very important. So stable glucose equals stable focus, memory, and mood. You can achieve this through protein-forward meals, of course, reducing ultra-processed foods, getting high carbohydrates out of your diet, and also regular movement, preferred weightlifting. I know I sound like a broken record with this, but I just can't stress it enough because it is the antidote to this issue of insulin resistance. It is the antidote, building up your muscle. Oh, I've never had a problem with muscle. When I was younger, I was like, why am I so muscly? No woman wants to be referred to as like sturdy, but I was a sturdy. I was a sturdy gal. That's for sure. Anyway, it's a good thing. I'd rather be sturdy now that I'm older. I'd rather be sturdy than frail, right? Okay, prioritize deep, consistent sleep. Sleep is when the brain cleans house. We go through glymphatic detox while we're sleeping. So that removes metabolic waste. When we're in deep sleep, poor sleep equals toxic buildup and impaired memory consolidation. So consistency matters more than perfection. And so, no matter what, these lifestyle habits are key. They're the pillars. And of course, cognitive functions at the top of the list for most people. I think we overlook it until we start seeing signals. And then all of a sudden it becomes the priority, right? So it doesn't have to get to that point, and you can improve it, okay, with these types of actions. Build muscle to support the brain. I say it over and over again. Muscle is a cognitive organ. Muscle releases myokines that support neuroplasticity, memory formation, mood regulation, and strength training improves executive function and resilience. Strong body, strong brain. Reduce chronic inflammation. So inflammation disrupts neurotransmitters and brain signaling. So omega-3s, I know I say it all the time, but omega-3s are huge. Magnesium, got to get yourself some cellular reset. That's the Vivix I talk about all the time. The polyphenols, very, very powerful antioxidants. Removing inflammatory foods and toxins. Those are those oils too, right? By now, if you've been listening for a while, hopefully you have thrown away all the vegetable oil, the canola oil, the soybean oil, all those oils that are in everything, especially your salad dressings and all your canned, jarred, pre-made types of foods. Those are just riddled with those highly oxidative oils. So get those out for better cognitive function. Sugar also as well in a lot of those products. So brain fog is often an inflammatory signal. It's not a motivation problem. It's actually a sign of inflammation. So if you're dealing with a lot of brain fog, it's time to tackle that inflammation. Train focus, not just intelligence. So attention is the gateway to cognition. Constant distraction weakens working memory. Practices that improve focus, single tasking. Listen, that whole multitasking thing is a lie. We've been putting this pressure on ourselves to be great multitaskers, and it turns out humans aren't very good at multitasking. If you want to do something really good and improve your focus, then allow yourself to single task. Okay, you'll actually get more done because it'll be more quality. The way you're doing it is with way more attention, way more focus, way more quality. And then you can move on to the next task. But this multitasking where we're trying to do multiple things at once, it's a myth. It's a myth. Breath work can help you regain your focus. Of course, we are in a challenged environment with our phones because the phone is constantly pulling our pulling our attention away, and is a big source of distraction for a lot of us. It's doing more than just distracting you from getting things done. It's doing more than that. It's training your neural pathways. And what it's doing is it's making you unable to focus. And that could be interpreted as brain fog, as, memory loss or whatever. Give up your phone for a little while. You'll be amazed on how your focus returns. Okay. This is actually kind of a trend I've been seeing lately. The kids are calling it raw dogging. They're calling it raw dogging, everybody. This means you're raw dogging life, which is like how we were raised, right? Where you don't have a device with you for an hour or two a day. That's called raw dogging, apparently. And so you and I, we raw dogged with the best of them. That's all there was, people. That's all there was. If you wanted to watch a screen, you had to wait till you got home, and then you probably had to get in a fight with your dad to watch it if you were in my house. So you can train your focus. It's not just intelligence. It's not lack of intelligence either. So don't beat yourself up that way. Some other things that you can use to support the brain, of course, creatine. I've been talking a lot about that because we've just launched in our partnered product line a wonderful creatine plus that contains polyphenols and contains some magnesium in there as well. So creatine isn't just for muscles. It fuels your brain. It supports that ATP production, the brain's primary energy source. It's shown to improve memory, mental fatigue, and processing speed, especially under stress or with sleep deprivation. Particularly helpful as we age or during high cognitive demand. So there you have it. A few ways that you can take control of your brain and improve cognitive function. I think that's top of the list, right? Stay tuned because Dean Lerwick from Pumpkin Creek Ranch is joining us, and we will be right back.
Did you know 80% of beef consumed in the U.S. comes from 4 major corporations, much of it being imported or processed with additives? Want real beef from a real farm? Pumpkin Creek Ranch does things the right way. Local, grass-fed, dry-aged beef with no additives, no shortcuts, just honest quality.
Pumpkin Creek Ranch beef is the real deal. I love knowing exactly where my meat comes from. No additives, no nonsense, just honest quality beef.
Best beef I've ever had. You can taste the difference. Rich, tender, and packed with real flavor. Plus, supporting a local ranch makes it even better.
From pasture to plate, they raise their cattle with care so you can get rich, natural flavor that only real ranching can provide. Stock your freezer with premium beef you can trust. Visit pumpkincreekranchco.com or call 970-658-0176.
Welcome back. As promised, Dean Lerwick from Pumpkin Creek Ranch is joining us. I got so many questions for him. We're going to have a great conversation. Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, Dean. How are you doing?
Hi, Tammy. Doing well. Glad to be back.
Yeah, did you guys get snow? Has it been cold there?
It's been cold. We didn't get much snow, but yeah.
That's what I heard.
Sub-zero temperatures.
Listen, chores suck when it's cold outside. I've been complaining about it all week. Hauling water, throwing hay, and I just got a little tiny little thing going here. You got a major operation going there. So
it brings out the whiner and complainer in me.
Absolutely. Me too. You're not alone. How is your guys' water supply there? Do you have to haul water at this when it gets this cold, or how do you guys deal with that?
So, yeah, we do a little bit. Some of our cattle, we're grazing on farm ground. We don't have water piped in on that. So we haul it. We've got a semi that we've set up, refrigerated van that we've set up with water tanks that we can kind of keep thawed. And that makes it a little bit easier. The good news, or the good thing about high plains weather is that it doesn't usually last a long time. So, if you can make it through 3 or 4 days, you're good. So.
I know, but we're grumpy after 3 or 4 days.
Oh, yeah.
I got calluses on my hands from, taking out water, and everybody's, a little bit grumpy around here. So the sun was out today, though. Listen, I can't really, it's out today. It's out, so I can't really complain about that. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about your processing plant, because this came up in a conversation that we were having with our community a couple nights ago. And I thought, people need to know more about the processing in general, how our meat is processed. So you've mentioned before, there's kind of like the big four. So why don't we start there and explain kind of like what are the big four and why is that kind of problematic just to have this kind of centralization of processing?
Well, about 80% of all beef processed in the U.S. is processed by 4 companies. It's not through 4 plants, but they own multiple plants. That gives them oversized control of pricing. We've talked some about pricing before, and maybe it's important to kind of point this out. Roughly, most commodities are based off of the prices on the futures market. For grains, primarily Chicago Board of Trade and the Kansas City Board of Trade. And then livestock is also based off of futures markets. And so then they can affect the overall price, because sometimes the delivery points, like they'll look at the futures price and that kind of drives what they offer. But wherever the delivery points are, they can have a different price from what the futures market is, and that difference in price is called the basis. Sometimes it's positive, so you'll get a little bit more than what the futures price is. Sometimes it's negative. A lot of times it's negative, but that's kind of where prices are set. But then those four, there's been lots and lots of screaming about the potential for collusion within the pricing, and that ends up squeezing the individual producers. And this is a kind of thing that can cause you problems, because when you're a feeder, just in conventional beef, a lot of times those cattle, they'll get them to whatever their set weight is that they're looking to finish them to, say 1,400 pounds. And those cattle are usually under contract. There's not a lot of them bought on the open market, but they'll get them to a certain weight, and then the buyer comes around maybe once a week and offers them a price. And if they don't like that price, they set on them. So you've got more feed going in. You can't really just put cattle in the cooler and not feed them.
Right.
The way you can put them in the feeder or in the cooler is to kill them. And so if you don't like that price, well, you'll set on them. And so next week they've eaten another.
I was going to say they're fatter.
Yep. And so then the price gets squeezed a little bit tighter, and maybe they don't quite fit the spec that you were going for. And so your premiums are going away, and that's the squeeze. And it boils down to, when you've got four major players, they have a lot of control. They have a lot of power, and they all know each other.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so how much does it cost to process one cow?
I do not know what the Big Four's pricing is. Usually the pricing that we're paying depends on the facility that we're going through, as far as for our smaller, the numbers that we're killing on a yearly basis. But we're generally, what they do is price it by the pound of hanging weight. So once the animal is killed, slaughtered, and on the rail, then we pay according to that. Generally speaking, $1.25, $1.30 up to as much as $1.40, $1.45, somewhere in there. It all depends on the facility, but somewhere in that range, and that's a price per pound.
And can they raise that price on, do they give better prices to, bigger operations, or is it straight across the board? Like if you're going to do a whole bunch of cattle, right? Because some of these, when I was looking at this, some of these operations, they do a lot of head of cattle a day.
Yeah. Yeah. So it depends on who they're killing for. Understand, a lot of times the way that we run our business currently, where we're bringing our beef to market, we are just going to the packer and paying them to butcher our cattle. The Big Four, they're buying those cattle. And so what their costs are, they buy them live, process them, and then they sell the end product. Either, I say end product, their end product is a primal or subprimal packaged product that they're going to send out to the grocery stores and to the butcher shops to be broken down further. So that's their end product.
Got it.
But we are killing at few enough numbers that we are just paying whatever the custom processing fee is. And so we, maybe if we had more cattle being processed in a year, we might be able to get a little, negotiate a little bit better price. But generally speaking, whatever the individual facility is charging, that's what they're charging. And you can either pay it, or you can set on your cattle because they don't need your business right now.
Right.
That's just the reality.
Yeah, it's I just want the audience to understand, like, it's a bit of a like, yeah, we'll go ahead and help you out type of scenario here with the smaller ranchers, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference between like a USDA certified plant and some of these other plants that we see around? Are the little plants that aren't USDA, is that just for like private consumption? You can't sell that on the free market? Is that how that works?
Yeah. So the way that works is essentially, yes, the way you described it. Most of those smaller uninspected lockers, those are intended for personal consumption, and every package of meat that comes out of that facility will say not for sale.
Okay.
Those, you can still utilize that as a way of getting cattle processed and sold, but the cattle have to be sold to the end consumer before they go to the plant. I can't take those cattle in there and then go and pick up the product and have it stamped with my name, because they stamp it with whoever the owner is of the animal. I can't have it stamped with my name and then go take it and hold it in my freezer and sell an individual steak, something like that, for those uninspected plants.
But I could buy your cow while it's still alive, and then it could get transported there. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So the other thing that came up in our conversation was that there's these long wait periods, right, for ranchers to get into. So how do you just like book? How does that work? Do you have to book a year in advance? Like some of these, I mean, they're really bottlenecked. So do you have a standing appointment for so many head of cattle?
Yeah, we booked through 27, I think now. Yeah, we book out a certain number of head every month for more than a year out. And that's what we have to do. Some of the smaller lockers, the uninspected lockers, you might be able to find somebody that can get you on the books in 3 or 4 months. But usually, you're usually quite a bit further out than that. And some of the slots might open up a little bit more, because for a rancher right now, or a cattle feeder right now, that had started a direct-to-consumer business, marketing their own beef when prices were pretty cheap, to try to recapture some of that. Well, right now, prices are so high at the ranch or at the feedlot gate. There's a lot of people that are just saying, you know what, it's not worth the trouble. I'm just going to sell what I've got right now and sell it right into the conventional market and take my money, because the money's pretty good right now.
Right.
And so for the smaller, like the custom cut lockers, the smaller USDA plants that will do custom cut, then that will open up their schedule some.
Okay.
But in general, you're still looking at several months if you're going to go the custom cut route.
Yeah. So what does it take to build a direct-to-consumer model like you guys are doing right now? Because it's kind of going against the grain.
Well, yeah, it takes a lot of time. It pushes you outside of your comfort zone. Most of the ranchers and farmers that are in production agriculture are there because they don't really want to have to deal with the end consumer. And that's really why we've got the system that we've got, where we've got some insulation between the customer and the producer. But what it takes to build that, it takes opening up your operation, because ultimately a direct-to-consumer model rests solely on trust. That's what it rests on. And if that trust is broken, or if you can't establish that trust, you're not going to sell your product. Mm-hmm. And so that's why it's a lot easier if you're just going to go and send your product into the conventional streams. You don't have to worry about that. There's a lot of pushback in the livestock industry about traceability. And by that, I mean that when we have these E. coli outbreaks, these food recalls, things like that, a lot of times people want to go even back to the farms, and most farms and ranches don't want traceability beyond, say, to the feeder. Once they sell that animal, they want to be out of there. Well, if there's an E. coli contamination, it's probably not something the rancher did. Probably happened in the facility that processed that beef. But, if there's a drug residue, that's probably a rancher or a feeder that did that. And should they be protected from that just because they don't want to be exposed to it? I have a hard time with that. And that's where we have had to just step right out and say, okay, inspect it. Look at what we're doing. We think what we're doing is the best for our environment and the best for our animals. And sometimes people agree, people disagree. And if you're going to build that brand, you have to be out there telling people and exposing yourself to their examination.
Yeah. But you don't have any problem with that when you're doing the right thing. That's for sure. No. Everybody stay tuned. This is Dean Lerwick with Pumpkin Creek Ranch. Visit pumpkincreekranchco.com. We'll be right back in 1 minute.
Did you know 80% of beef consumed in the U.S. comes from 4 major corporations, much of it being imported or processed with additives? Want real beef from a real farm? Pumpkin Creek Ranch does things the right way. Local, grass-fed, dry-aged beef with no additives, no shortcuts, just honest quality.
Pumpkin Creek Ranch beef is the real deal. I love knowing exactly where my meat comes from. No additives, no nonsense, just honest quality beef.
Best beef I've ever had. You can taste the difference. Rich, tender, and packed with real flavor. Plus, supporting a local ranch makes it even better.
From pasture to plate, they raise their cattle with care, so you can get rich, natural flavor that only real ranching can provide. Stock your freezer with premium beef you can trust. Visit pumpkincreekranchco.com or call 970-658-0176.
That's actually exactly what Dean Lerwick has taught me through our years of conversations now, is that transparency, that's the new organic, everybody. Your organic is not as trusted as you might believe it to be. So transparency is really where it's at. So reclaim your food, reclaim your freedom, no GMOs, no additives, just clean, award-winning beef with Pumpkin Creek Ranch. You can visit their website at pumpkincreekranchco.com. It's 10% off your first order. And not only that, though, you're buying differently when you buy from direct to consumer in this model. And you're essentially joining a ranch revolution here. You are determining where the market goes. Welcome back, Dean, to Naturally Inspired Radio. I want to get a little bit more into the trade-offs. Like, we know that you have chosen this direct-to-consumer model. What are you tapping out of, doing it the conventional way? And, what are you getting rid of that is a good thing? And what is a kind of more, we've talked a little bit about what is more challenging. So what are you actually getting away from that helps you do what you want to do with your ranch?
Well, the system that we were in when we started investigating and moving into a direct-to-consumer model would have seen us, we're a cow-calf producer, meaning that we run mother cows. We have calves born once a year. Those calves would be weaned, and then we would sell all but the heifers that we were going to keep back to raise as our new mamas. That was a system. We drastically cut back the number of heifers that we would sell each year. And we started running started running a bigger group of heifers, breeding them for a shorter period of time, because most ranches will have a set number of days that they leave their bulls with their cows in order to keep their calving season shorter. So it's not uncommon in the high plains to have a 60-day breeding season. So you turn your bulls in, and 60 days later you pull your bulls out, and whatever doesn't breed in that period of time typically gets sold. The cows, they're said to be open. On our heifers, we keep our heifers, or we put the bulls in for 30 days and then we pull them. And so what that does is it identifies in a real world, identifies the most productive animals.
The healthiest? Does that mean that they're the healthiest, right?
That's the idea. We don't see, if it's a matter of illness that they're not getting bred, it's not like something that you would be able to identify just by looking at these animals. What we're kind of fighting with the heifer thing is that they have to reach physiological maturity and sexual maturity. They have to hit puberty within a certain period of time. And then, so we're selecting for those animals that are maybe a little bit ahead of the curve on hitting puberty. And so with the idea that it'll make our whole herd more fertile over the long run. And so those animals that don't get bred then are the ones that will go into our finishing program that we sell direct to the consumer. And so the trade-off was that we were able to clear the deck, so to speak, for the most part, once or twice a year, and we just have mama cows, a few bulls, and then the handful of heifers that we were going to keep and raise as replacements for the mothers in order to maintain our numbers. Now we've got animals all the way from the calves, they hit the ground in May, through animals that are held over and finished at a later or a older age than would be typical. So it's been something that we've grown over the years. We didn't just hit the ground running. This year we ended up killing just over 10% of our annual production that went into our beef business. The rest of them either are kept as replacements, the steer calves are sold. That's kind of what the model is now. So it took what was nice, and we had it all lined out, and there was definitive points at which we'd clear the deck, we'd get rid of everything except the mother cows, and it was simpler. This is not so much. I've got to make sure I've got feed for the ones that we're feeding to finish. We've got to make sure we got pasture for everything else. So it complicates it, but it gives us a little bit more control over our own destiny.
Right. Talk to me about the plant. I know you guys have, we've discussed on here before that you have plans, you even have a site. You've kind of had funding at one point, then, that funding fell through. So this is like an ongoing project. But what would having your own processing plant do for Pumpkin Creek?
Well, it would allow us to expand our offering some. So the plant that we have developed or designed, we've worked with a firm out of Kansas City that specializes in design, construction, and maintenance of facilities. Beef primarily, but they also do pork and other proteins, but it's primarily cattle. We have gone through the design process with them. We've done a couple of different designs right now. The numbers we're looking at are between 10 and 20 head per day slaughter capacity. We have gotten the USDA to sign off on this. We have the city of Gearing where we've sited the plant. They gave us a conditional use permit. They also gave us tax increment financing approval on the plant. We have a lot identified. We've been working with the developer. We had it under contract for a while, but the original investors backed out, and so they haven't moved anybody else in on that lot. Not to say they couldn't, but that's the way it stands right now. So what we're looking for,
and it used to be
is
a processing plant, right?
Yeah.
Many years ago?
It closed, I believe, in '08. And then the plant was old enough that instead of refurbishing, they closed it and scrapped it, cleaned it off. And so the site has the utilities for that would facilitate a much larger plant than what we are anticipating building. But the plant will be a beef plant. We'll have a smokehouse, the ability to produce smoked meats, as well as just direct to consumer, custom cut. That's the primary focus. We've designed it with a vision for expansion. Kind of want to start small and get our feet on the ground, but it'll help our own brand. But the bigger thing that we're looking for, a mission that we're looking towards, is being able to help other people either develop their own brand, and facilitate them finding their own customers and fulfilling those orders, or in the absence of that desire on their part, building a brand that several producers can sell into, and that would help the local area. Our mission, our vision is much bigger than just our own project.
That sounds like community to me, Dean.
That's important to us.
Because the big four, they seem to have a community, they have some big money and a lot of community. And if we're if we want to decentralize our food supply, which I talk about all the time, it's not about wanting to, we need to. This is actually a security risk, having everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, we have to support small ranchers. But it sounds like to me, you'd be building your own community of ranchers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's a thing that we want to see, because we don't want to see ever more consolidation, bigger ranches, bigger feedlots, bigger. Then we end up all working as slaves or plebs for the big guys. And I don't think that's healthy for a free market or capitalist system. I just don't see that as a good way to ensure longevity of our communities and the vitality of our communities. I think we need more producers, smaller producers, and that's our focus. Being able to help them access markets that may be closed off to them, because even these smaller feeders, if they could sell 15 or 20 head per year, it's not going to be enough to probably for them to live on, but it'll certainly be a good way for them to make some extra money, and maybe it's something that they can grow into something that they can survive on. But if you come to one of the big four and say, well, I've got 20 head that I've finished and I'm ready to sell them, and they're going to laugh at you.
Yeah.
There's no room there.
There's no room.
No.
Mm-mm.
No.
One thing too, I'd like to add to that is there's a variable here we're not talking about, which is preserving the lifestyle of a rancher too. This is a big part of American culture. We've been kind of talking a lot about American culture on the show recently, and this is American lifestyle. Ranching is American lifestyle, and it's not about corporate lifestyle. Those big four, they don't operate in the lifestyle.
No, it's not that's not their concern. No. Their concern is, and to be perfectly blunt, they're not all American companies. Mm-hmm. We've got foreign ownership in that big four, and so their focus isn't the American rancher. Just isn't. I mean, we can get mad about it, or we can decide to change the way we operate.
Yeah, and the good news is that the public, right, our citizenry, we control the marketplace. We just don't. We're not we're just not. We're getting there. I think people are getting more informed all the time. But when we're buying meat, we're just we're thinking we got to get dinner on the table, and we're not mindful about it. But if you stop and you talk to somebody and you actually explain what's going on in this the marketplace of beef, every time, You know, the average American family is going to want to support the American lifestyle of ranching and the American rancher. You can do it today at pumpkincreekranchco.com. Head on over there. You get 10% off of your first order. Dean, thanks so much for joining me today. As always, I love talking to you.
Thanks, Tammy. Enjoyed it.
We'll be right back, everybody. Stay tuned.